We're going into court in like 2 minutes.
Oh, can you just peek at it to see? Do you have the phone here?
It's right here.
Just see if it's your name.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Can the jail confirm that we do not have any Spanish speakers today so we can let the interpreter go?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right. Thank you, Madam Interpreter. Have a great day.
Thank you, Your Honor. You too. Interpreter will now disconnect.
Ms. Krause, is that you? I can see a shoulder. There we go. Good morning.
And Your Honor, we made advice to the court. Number 1, Miguel Rico, and number 3, Ellie Nyamzima, have refused this morning.
All right.
You're doing the juvenile case first?
That should be what is left. Yes. And so counsel's aware the court's going to ask about 8305D, the indications about where she should be held. So I will be asking
Noted.
arguments on that as well. Good morning. Tell me your name.
Anaisa Lopez
What's your middle name, Anaisa?
Caridad.
Your Honor, can I have that case, that ARS once more, please?
It's 8305D. It's the juvenile factors about where she should be held.
Thank you.
Ms. Lopez, you were here today on felony charges involving aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault, temporary but substantial disfigurement, and also aggravated assault on a peace officer. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney for this case, and you have the public defender's office seated with you for purposes of the proceedings here today. I'm also going to appoint that office to represent you going forward. This is the time for your initial appearance when we're going to set your conditions of release on this matter. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report for the court that tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances of this offense. What I see from the report is that you have a juvenile probation hold for your Maricopa County juvenile court case that is up there. So regardless of what I do for your conditions of release today, you're going to be held on that until that can be resolved. I have had a chance to review the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release. They're asking for a $75,000 bond. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further? And also, we do have to address the issue of whether or not Ms. Lopez should be housed at the Pima County Jail Adult Facility or at the juvenile facility under ARS Section 8-305B.
Your Honor, in this matter, the state is asking for a $75,000 bond. This individual, well, first off, the state wasn't even aware of the prior juvenile charge in Maricopa. That said, we are looking at 6 ag assaults, 4 of which are on law enforcement. She unprovokedly, allegedly attacked a victim on the bus with a machete, cracking her in the forehead. Now, the state spoke with the detective. This person had a 4 to 5 inch deep laceration on her forehead. Unknown how many stitches, but it's to be several dozen at least. Not to mention the fact that this person is going to be permanently disfigured because of this person's unprovoked assault with a machete. While she was being apprehended, she attacked the 4 officers, causing some to suffer exposure to bodily fluids. And in doing so, also one took a facial abrasion requiring on-site treatment from TFD. And during the course of this, it has been alleged that the defendant made unprompted, excited utterances admitting to the underlying crime. We're looking at a history of assaultive behavior and likely incarceration if convicted. And with the cases here and in Maricopa County, the state would question the depth and breadth of any community ties. I can address 305 if you'd like at this time, Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor, it is my understanding that this person is 15 years old. It's the state's position that the best interests of the juvenile as well as the other juveniles weighs against incarceration in the juvenile detention facility and in favor of the adult facility because of the sheer brutality of this attack. As far as physical and mental maturity, Your Honor, the state can't speak to physical maturity other than the state will go ahead and assume she's an otherwise healthy 15-year-old. Mental maturity, Your Honor, it seemed, Your Honor, the state's not a psychiatrist, but the person seemed to have the ability, the mental ability, the emotional ability to crack somebody in the head with a machete, could have killed him. Present mental state, including whether they presented the individual presents an imminent risk of harm to the juvenile. Your Honor, I would say this sort of predatory behavior weighs strongly against confining her in the youth facility and strongly for confinement in the adult facility. There could be younger children, less mature, physically mature children, and less emotionally or mentally mature children, and this sort of predator ought not be around them. Nature and circumstances, we've gone over this. This is an absolutely brutal crime. This is the sort of thing we see from adults very often. History of prior delinquent acts. Again, the state wasn't aware of the Maricopa case, but that would weigh in favor of this person being confined in the adult facility. The next is relative ability of the facilities. The state has no information other than we've not heard that either facility is at any overcrowding levels. I seldom hear the adult facility being over 60 some odd, 70, 60, 65% capacity. Existing programs, I would assume for the sake of argument that this person is a high school student, and I'm sure if she wants to go to classes that could be allotted her, or she could get a GED in the adult facility. And finally, any other factor, the state would ask the court to just look at the absolute randomness, brutality, and the absolute feral behavior of the defendant when she was in the process of being apprehended. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Kraus.
First of all, I'd like to say, Mr. Poston, I don't think it's appropriate to use the word feral and predator about a 15-year-old. She is 15, and basically all the things that Mr. Poston just said is why she should be at the juvenile court. Her maturity level, her lack of prior exposure to the treatment, and individuals who work at the juvenile detention center who are going to be able to address her age and her circumstances, which obviously there's something going on that she needs assistance with, and the juvenile detention center is going to be much more suitable to handle those things and get her into the programming and support that she needs for a 15-year-old. So I'm not saying that this offense wasn't serious, but all of those factors weigh in favor of keeping this 15-year-old, who is a child, with other appropriately aged individuals and people who have specific training to deal with a 15-year-old.
Did you want to be heard on her conditions of release, Ms. Kraus?
I mean, I think with the Maricopa hold, it would be appropriate to set a bond. Obviously, anything for her is going to be effectively no bond, but to set a bond to keep her in Pima County so that she can be here and handle this case. She does have, and just to clarify, her family and support are down in Pima County, not in Maricopa.
Thank you, Ms. Kraus. All right, Ms. Lopez, I am on this case going to impose a $50,000 cash or secured bond. If someone posts that bond for you, then you're going to be released to pretrial. You'll have to report to that agency as directed, participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not old enough to do that. Also, no firearms or weapons. You cannot have any contact with the victim in this case or return to the incident location. Your next hearing on this case is going to be July 21st at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's a preliminary hearing. That hearing may or may not occur, but you have to show up at all future court dates. And if you don't, they can issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the conditions of release I've just imposed, Ms. Lopez?
Yes.
And do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear for your hearing?
Yes.
Pursuant to ARS 8-305D, the court has considered all the factors under that statute, and I do find that Ms. Lopez should be detained in the juvenile correction facility, not at the Pima County Jail. Folks at the jail, I know this is probably different. Are you prepared to deal with this? Jail?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So Ms. Lopez will be held for this case. I understand that she is being charged as an adult at this time, but it is the court's order today that she be housed at the juvenile detention facility, and the jail will need to make those arrangements.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Lopez, you have the orders of the court. If you stay in custody, the jail will make sure that you get transported for your hearings. If you do post bond or someone posts that bond for you, you must stay in contact with your attorney. They're not likely going to release you on this case because I told you you have that Maricopa County hold as well. You're all done for today. Someone at the jail should be transporting you to that juvenile facility.
Slightly more.
Are we scheduled to do Mr. Matheny next?
Looks like he's next on the list. I think they're getting him.
Hey, what have we released today?
Good morning. Tell me your name.
Blake Matheny?
Mr. Matheny, you were here today on 13 cases out of Tucson City Court. Many of those are warrants. You're also here on a new charge for public sexual indecency. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say
Can I go home?
and will be used against you. You're not going to go home right now, Mr. Matheny. We're here to talk about your conditions of release. Today I'm going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. And I am going to impose a bond on all of these matters today of $2,500 cash. You do have the right. You're not going home, Mr. Matheny. You do have the right to remain jail.
Do you want to let her know? He's gone. I think she's waiting to see if he comes back.
Your Honor, he left. He went back to the housing unit.
Okay, so he's gonna have to come back because we didn't finish his initial. So we're gonna have to schedule him to come back tonight. I can't go off of just what I said today and have that be sufficient for his initial. So if we can't bring him back this morning to finish this up, he's gonna have to come back tonight. What do you all want to do?
Back to that, he was being uncooperative.
Okay. So I will put that he refused and we'll kick him to tonight.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hi, Parthy. Oh, have a seat right there.
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
David Joe Botzino, ma'am.
All right. Give me just a second. All right. Mr. Botno, you were here today on a South Tucson City case involving an assault and disorderly conduct charge. These are misdemeanor offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. These are domestic violence related offenses. I've had the opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report that tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. They also had a chance to talk with Ms. Gomez, who's the victim in this case. She says at this time that you are welcome to return home and she would like to have contact with you. If I release you today, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, ma'am.
The other thing you have to promise is acts of domestic violence. Can you do that as well? All right, we're going to release you on your promise to appear today. Your additional condition is that you not commit any acts of domestic violence. Your next court date is going to be August 5th at 10 o'clock. and that's going to be at South Tucson City Court. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you don't appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you
Yes, ma'am.
do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed today?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear for your hearing on August 5th at 10?
Yes, ma'am.
You're all done for today. When you get released, you'll get a copy of the paperwork that's going to have the court date and time, also the address and form number for the court for you, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're all done for today.
Worthy.
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Hey. Roman Talbot Bartlett.
Mr. Bartley, you are here today on misdemeanor charges involving shoplifting and resisting arrest. These are out of Pima County Justice Court. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Yes, dude. Gotta change that. It's resistant.
Mr. Bartley, hang on. Currently, I'm showing a general delivery address for you. Do you have a place to stay right now?
Yep.
Do you have an address that you can give me?
The address is currently on the paper.
On what paper?
Whatever paper you have.
Okay, well,
That
the
doesn't have an address.
4233 North Florida, Wellsboro.
all right. If I release you today on these charges, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Sure, yes.
I am going to release you on your promise to appear today. Your additional conditions of release, you are not allowed to return to the incident location. Wherever that shoplifting happened at 3970 North Flowing Wells, you are not allowed to go back there. Do you understand that?
Sure.
And you agree to abide by that?
Sure.
Your next court date is going to be July 21st at 8:30 in the morning. That's going to be in Pima County Justice Court. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yeah.
Mr. Bartley, I'm going to tell you about the transition center. If you need assistance with housing or any other services, they may be able to help you. When you get released today, if you follow the blue line on the ground, as soon as you walk out the door, it'll take you to a big white trailer with a blue sign that's the transition center. All right, you're all done for today.
Gomez.
Hi, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Sheena Nicole Gomez.
Ms. Gomez, you are here today on account of disorderly conduct and assault. They are domestic violence offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is a South Tucson City Court case. I've had a chance to review information provided by pretrial services. They've told me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. It looks like Mr. Botnow, who we saw earlier today, is also willing to have contact with you. So the two of you are going to be allowed to have contact. If I release you today, will you promise not to commit any further acts of domestic violence?
Yes, I promise.
If I release you today, will you also promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, I promise.
All right. Your next court date is going to be August 5th at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's going to be at South Tucson City Court. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you don't, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you don't show up for court?
Yes.
All right. When you get released later today, you're going to get a copy of your paperwork. It's going to give you the court date and time we just talked about, as well as the address for South Tucson Court. Make sure you show up, okay? You're all done for You're all done for today. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Scott McPherson.
Pearson, you are here today on charges now out of Pima County Justice Court, misdemeanor charges for disorderly conduct, criminal trespass, resisting arrest, and assault. These are all misdemeanor offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We're here to talk about your conditions of release on this case. If I release you today, Mr. McPherson, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
You know, I will be there too. Yes, I will be there.
Okay. And the other conditions of your release are going to be that you are not allowed to return back to the incident location. Don't go to the casino on Valencia Road. Do you understand?
I have a problem.
You cannot go back there for any reason. They're the victims of this set of crimes and you're not allowed to return. So if you can't,
My car is there.
do you have someone else that can go get your car?
No,
If you go get your car, you have to leave. Do you understand?
my brother is there. He does not have a license. We were there for his birthday last night.
So, Mr. McPherson, it's
So
not a debate. If you need to return to get your car, I will allow you to.
I do. Thank you. I do.
I'm going to allow you to return one time to retrieve your car. That's it. That does not require you to be in the building. Do not go in the building. Do you understand?
Lo comprendo.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
I am going to release you on your promise to appear. Your next court date is July 21st at 8:30. That's going to be at Pima County Justice Court. You must appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
I understand the consequences. No way of writing any kind of date, time, or anything. Am I gonna get formal?
Yes, you're going to get the paperwork when you get released. Your additional conditions that we've discussed is not returning to the incident location. I am writing on there that you may return one time to get your vehicle from the parking lot.
Okay. I'm not going to be tackled when I go to get my car, am I?
You're going to be allowed to return one time to retrieve your vehicle from the parking lot. When you get released later today, you're going to get a copy of your paperwork. It's going to have that order that will say you get to return one time. So if you encounter any difficulties, you can show law enforcement that order. And then your court date, time, and location, as well as the phone number for the court, will be on the paperwork that you get. You're all done.
Because I was viciously tackled.
You're all done for
just cause.
You're all done for today, Mr. McPherson.
Thank you.
I just want to throw you up. You get mad and I don't go fast enough. My fingers.
Hi, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Carol Marie Warson.
Ms. Wharton, you are here today for a charge of domestic violence, assault. It is a misdemeanor offense. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We're here to talk about your conditions of release. I have had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. They also had a chance to talk with your spouse, Mr. Wharton, who is the victim in this case. He has indicated that he is willing to continue to have contact with you and that you may return home. If I release you today on this charge, do you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future at Marana City Court?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then the other condition of your release will be that you commit no acts of domestic violence. Will you promise to do that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
I will release you today on your promise to appear. Your next court date is going to be August 13th at 10 o'clock in the morning. That will be Marana City Court. When you get released later today, you're going to get a copy of your paperwork that'll have the date and time and also the address for Marana City Court. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're all done for today, ma'am.
Gregory?
Hi, tell me your name.
Darnell Gregory.
Mr. Gregory, you are here today on a misdemeanor charge of disorderly conduct. It is a domestic violence offense. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We're here to talk about your conditions of release for this matter. This is your initial appearance and also your arraignment. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. I've had a chance to review some information provided by pretrial services on this matter. That report tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances. They do try to contact the victim, who appears to be your former spouse, and they were not able to reach her. Are you residing somewhere other than with her right now?
Yes, Your Honor. I have my own apartment.
Okay. So if I release you today, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, Your Honor.
The other orders that I'm going to impose today are that you not have any contact with Miss CC. You're not allowed to return to her residence or have any contact of any kind with her. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So we're going to release you today on your promise to appear. Your next court date is going to be August 12th at 1:30 at Tucson City Court in front of Judge Millian. Your additional conditions are to commit no acts of domestic violence and have no contact of any kind with Miss CC, not returning to her residence or workplace. You do have to show up at your next court date. If you fail to appear, they could issue for a warrant for your arrest. They could also go forward with that hearing in your absence and set future hearings that take place in your absence, including a trial. If you get convicted at trial and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could also give up your right to an appeal. Do you understand all of those consequences if you fail to appear for your court date?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're all done.
Dr. Justin?
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Justin Thor Yakupchik. Good morning.
Good morning. You are here today on a warrant out of Tucson City Court for an assault charge. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. It's my understanding that you have a felony matter going on as well. Do you have something going on that's keeping you there at the jail aside from this case?
I was unaware of that.
Jail, are you showing a probation hold?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So it looks like you do have the probation hold. So you're going to be held until you're seen on that probation matter. As for this case, we do need to talk about your conditions of release. For this matter, I'm going to impose a $500 cash or secured bond. I'm going to appoint Euthemios Katsarelis to represent. If you do post your bond, then you are going to need to appear for a court date that I give you in the future. If you stay in custody, Mr. Katsarelis will be in contact with you and work with you about how to resolve this case along with whatever's going on with your felony case and that attorney. Do you understand all of that?
I do, but I want to post a bond on much money.
So the bond I'm going to impose today is a $500 cash or secured bond. If you do post that bond, then you would be released. You're not to, this is an assault charge, so you can't commit any acts of domestic violence if you do end up getting released. And again, Posting bond on this case won't do you any good because you're still going to be held on that felony probation hold. So once you get that matter resolved, then talk with Mr. Katsarelis and perhaps he can get you back in front of Tucson City Court sooner than the date I'm going to give you. Right now, we have what's called a non-transport review hearing date for you, and that's not until September 5th at 9 o'clock in the morning. So
No, I would proceed until September 5th.
I guess you could be, but I don't see that happening. I think what ultimately is going to happen is you are going to probably get released on your felony matter before then. And again, I don't know what that is, but that's a probation hold. You're going to have Mr. Katsarelis, so you can talk with him and he will help navigate this piece of it for you. He can ask to modify your conditions through Veterans Court at Tucson City Court and get a court date sooner if it looks like you are going to be released before then. Okay?
So I'm kind of unsure what's going on. So I'm staying here until when?
You're staying there until your probation hold is taken care of. I do not know when that is because I am not seeing you on that matter today. The only thing I'm seeing you on today is this Tucson City Court warrant that you have. So I'm appointing an attorney and giving you a future court date. If they release you on that other matter and you can post the $500 cash or secured bond, then you would be released on this case as well. That would be your other option.
I've never had to pay a bond before. Is there, what is it, 10% of that has to go down or something like that? I don't even have that.
Yeah, it's 10% that you would have to come up with, and then the rest of it just has to be secured in some fashion. And again, Mr. Katsarelis has been appointed to represent you, so he'll be able to assist you. Do you understand? Do you understand the conditions of release that I put in place today? And do you understand the consequences that they could issue a warrant for you again if you don't show up for court? All right, you're all done for today. Hi, tell me your name.
Good morning, Alicia Parmenter.
Ms. Parmenter, you are here today on misdemeanor charges of assault and disorderly conduct. They are domestic violence offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We're here to set your conditions of release. This is the time for your initial appearance and your arraignment on these charges. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. I've reviewed a report from pretrial services. They prepared something telling me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. It also looks like they tried to contact Mr. Dawkins, who is the victim in this case, and they were not able to reach him. If I release you today, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, Your Honor.
The other thing is, as of today, you're not going to be allowed to have any contact with him. Do you have someplace else that you are living?
No.
Can you find someplace else to live? You're going to have to if I release you.
Yes.
All right. So you're going to have to establish an alternate residence for the time being. Your conditions of release are that you commit no acts of domestic violence. You can't have any contact with Mr. Dawkins at this time. Don't go anywhere near where he is living or working. Do you need to return to that address to collect any of your belongings?
I do, Your Honor. We also have children.
Okay. So what I will tell you is that Mr. Dawkins can contact Tucson City Court or the city prosecutor's office. So he would be able to do that. But today, my orders with you are that you not have contact with him. I will allow you to return to the residence to get your belongings, and I will allow phone contact for purposes of the children. Okay. So, but do not talk about this case. You're not allowed to get into anything. Don't ask him to do anything for you. I will indicate on the order that you're allowed to have phone contact only for purposes of discussing the kids.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm going to check a box on your conditions of release that says that you may return one time to that residence to retrieve your personal belongings, but you have to go with law enforcement. So you'll, when you get released today, get a copy of your paperwork. It's a piece of paper that'll have that box checked. You either need to go to a nearby police station or call 911 and give them this order and let them know that you need to go get your belongings and they will accompany you. You can't go by yourself. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. All right. Your next court date at Tucson City Court is going to be August 12th at 1:30 in the afternoon. And that's going to be in front of Judge Millian at Tucson City Court. Again, when you get released, you'll get that information on the paperwork. Do you have any questions about the conditions of release that I've imposed today?
No, Your Honor.
You do have to appear at that next court date. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. They could also go forward with that hearing in your absence and set future hearings in your absence, including a trial. If they have the trial in your absence and you get convicted and can't be sentenced in 90 days, you could also lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all of those consequences if you fail to appear for court?
Yes.
You're all done for today, ma'am.
Walsall?
Hi, tell me your name.
Hey, Sean Walker.
Mr. Walter, you're here today on a charge of assault, unlawful imprisonment, and disorderly conduct. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. These are misdemeanor offenses. We are here to talk about your conditions of release. Looks like the victim in this case is Miss Davis. Pretrial services was able to contact her, and she says that you are welcome to return at this time. Jail, are you showing any kind of probation hold?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So, sir, I see that you are on felony probation. If I release you today, will you promise to show up at a court date at city court that I give you in the future?
Sure.
All right. I am going to release you on that promise to appear today. Your additional condition of release is that you commit no further acts of domestic violence, and you must contact your probation officer tomorrow. You're going to get released today. If I were you, I would call them this afternoon and not wait, but you have to contact them within 1 working day. Do you understand?
So that's what I was going to do today if I got released early enough to go check in, because I was supposed to check in again. So.
I'm just writing information on your form. All right. So you're going to get released today. This is also the time for your arraignment on these charges. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. The next court date for you is August 12th at 1:30. That's going to be in front of Judge Millian. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. They could also go forward with that hearing in your absence and set future hearings, including a trial in your absence. If you get convicted and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could also lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all the conditions that I've imposed today?
Yeah, sure.
And do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear for your next hearing?
Yeah, sure.
You're all done for today, sir. No, he does not. That's what the jail said no. I know that wasn't our paperwork, but.
Yeah. Oh, Aguilar, Gabriel.
Morning,
Hey, sir, tell me your name.
Gabriel Aguilar.
Mr. Aguilar, you were here today on a couple of warrants. One of them is out of Maricopa County for theft of means of transportation, robbery, and aggravated assault, temporary but substantial disfigurement. The other is a Nogales City Court case. You do have the right to remain silent on these matters. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I have had the opportunity to take a look at the warrants. The Maricopa County warrant does have a $150,000 cash bond. We do need to set conditions of release on this case. I am going to impose that $150,000 cash bond on that Maricopa County matter. We're going to set a future hearing for you here in Pima County for August 11th at 9. That's called a review hearing. I don't see that there's any other matters holding you here in Pima County other than these warrants. Do you have something else pending, Mr. Aguilar? Oh, DOC, that's why.
DOC, Department of Corrections.
Yeah. So the jail, at least that's the main indication. Jail, are you showing the DOC hold as well?
That's correct. That doesn't apply to him. It was a mistype.
Okay, so there's not a DOC hold. Okay. Jail, any other holds?
No, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Aguilar, the $150,000 cash or secured bond on your Maricopa case is in place. If you post that bond, then you'd be released and you have to report to Maricopa County to get your next court date. If you can't post that bond, the jail is going to notify Maricopa County that you have been picked up on this matter, and they will likely come and get you within the next few days and take you to Maricopa County. If for some reason you're still here in the jail and you shouldn't be on August 11th at 9 o'clock, then you're going to come back before us for a review hearing so we can figure out what's going on. Do you understand all of that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And then there is a warrant out of Nogales Municipal Court. I am inclined to release you on that one just so that you can go get your Maricopa thing taken care of, but you're going to have to contact Nogales to get this matter resolved whenever you get released. Will you promise to do that?
Yes, I do.
There is a warrant amount of $250, the warrant does list a $250 warrant. Given the circumstances, I am just going to release you on your promise to appear. And then you do need to contact Nogales to make sure that you get in touch with them. I'm going to give you a future court date there. I don't know whether or not you'll be out time, but it's going to be July 29th at 11 o'clock. If you do get released, the jail should be able to give you this paperwork so that you have that date and time with you. So if you get released by the 29th, show up at Nogales. If you don't show up, they can issue a warrant for you. I would contact whoever your attorney is in Maricopa County when you get there. Let them know that you also have that Nogales thing going on, okay? Any questions about what I've done here today?
Nope.
All right, you're all done, sir.
Your Honor, this is the jail. Do you mind if we skip Almeda John's right now and have him go at the end of the calendar?
Okay.
Thank you. Brad, I'm on it.
And Brad, the one with the DOC hold, that was the mistype, it was attributed to Aguilar instead of him, just in case that's not marked on your end.
Okay, got it. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Jaime Alejandro Bracamonte.
Mr. Bracamonte, you are here today on a couple of different matters. You're here on felony charges relating to criminal damage, unlawful means of transportation, fictitious plates, trespassing, unlawful imprisonment, a couple of ring with evidence. These are felony offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in these felony matters. Today, I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have an attorney seated with you for purposes of these hearings here today. We are here to talk about your conditions of release for this case. I also have a Tucson City Court matter. It looks like there's a shoplifting warrant that you failed to appear for. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I've reviewed some information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report for the court that tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances of the offense. It looks like you also have a probation violation probation violation warrant out of Phoenix City Court as well that you're going to need to take care of. Jail, you're not showing any holds, are you?
That's the one you told me had the felony probation.
Yes, Your Honor, he does have a felony probation matter out of Maricopa.
Mr. Bracamonte does?
Correct.
All right.
It's not a felony probation.
So what that means, Mr. Bracamonte, is that regardless of what I do here today on your conditions of release, you're going to be held until you can be seen on that hold from Maricopa County probation. I've also had a chance to review some information provided by the state and their recommendation as to your conditions of release. They are asking for a $20,000 cash or secured bond. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Kraus, did you want to be heard? I am inclined to impose a bond.
Yeah, Your Honor, because of that hold, we'd be asking for a bond, whatever the court feels appropriate.
I am going to impose a bond in the amount of $15,000 cash or secured. If you post that bond here, Mr. Bracamonte, then you would have to be released to pretrial services. You'd be required to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You can't possess or consume any alcohol, drugs, and you can't have any firearms. Don't have any contact with the victims in this case, and don't go back to the incident location. Do you understand all of those conditions?
I understand.
Your next court date in this felony case is going to be July 21st at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you are expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that as well?
I understand.
All right, let's talk about your Tucson City Court case. As I've indicated, that is a shoplifting warrant. It looks like it stems from April of this year. You have the right to remain silent on that charge as well. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I am going to, there's a $250 bond amount on that warrant. I am going to impose that $250. It is going to be a cash bond. I am going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. And we're going to set what's called a video review hearing at Tucson City Court. That's going to be on July 18th at 1:45. If you are still in custody, the jail will make sure to put you in front of a video and you should hear from the public defender's office before that date. If for some reason you get bonded out on all of these cases and you're out of custody by that July 18th date, we're going to set an out of custody date for you to appear on this Tucson City Court case, and that's going to be on August 12th. You are not allowed to return to the incident location. Wherever that shoplifting occurred, don't go back there. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed on your city court case?
Yes, I understand.
And also in that case, if you don't show up again, if you did get out of custody, they could issue a warrant for you. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, I understand.
You're all done for today, Mr. Bracamonte.
Thank you.
Go.
Okay.
Good morning.
Hi, tell me your name.
Jamie Crane.
Ms. Crane, you are here today on charges of possession of a narcotic drug and possession of drug paraphernalia. These are felony charges. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. That tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances of the offense. Based on the nature of these charges, Ms. Crane, you may be eligible to participate in a Pima County diversion program. It would basically be, it's a pre-indictment program that if you agree to do substance abuse treatment and successfully complete the program requirements, the state would not go forward with these felony charges. Is that something you're interested in doing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to give you a hearing date for that. It's called STEPS. It's the Substance Abuse Treatment Court hearing, and it's going to be July 17th at 9 a.m. You do need to go to Pima County Superior Court. You're going to have to check the monitor to find out what floor you're going to and what judge you're going to see on that day. The only way you're going to be eligible is if you show up next week at that date and time. In the courtroom is going to be an attorney from the public defender's office. You'll have an opportunity to review that contract and see if you want to sign up if the state says you're eligible. And service providers will be there as well, so that you can sign up for services right there in the courtroom and help get that taken care of. So please make sure you show up for that hearing. I have had an opportunity to review information provided by the state. Mr. Poston, your sheet says Maricopa
It was
County.
the Crane and Bracamonte got juxtaposed. This one is a release of pretrial plus screen for steps.
Okay.
And I'm sending the corrected ones presently.
Okay, so I am going to release Ms. Crane to the custody of pretrial services. Ms. Kraus, did you need to be heard?
No.
Are you willing to waive time on the PH?
Yes.
So Ms. Crane, we're going to release you today to pretrial services. That means you have to stay in contact with that agency, participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You are not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol, obviously no illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. Make sure you go to the hearing next week. After that, if you aren't eligible or something else happens, your next court date in this case would be August 25th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's a preliminary hearing. Normally, that would be something the state would have to go forward on within 20 days. But since you're getting the opportunity to see if you're eligible to participate in the diversion program, we're going to extend that time out. That's why it's a little bit further out. It goes out to 45 days. So show up. You need to show up next week. You need to show up to court next week on the 17th, and then the attorney from the public defender's office can let you know what's going to happen next. If you're eligible to participate, you're not going to have to worry about that preliminary hearing date. But if you don't show up next week, or you find out that you're not eligible, then that is your next court date, and you have to appear for that court date. If you don't, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. You're all done.
Robert, Devin.
Hi, sir. Tell me your name. Mr. Deming, you are here today on multiple matters. We have felony charges involving driving under the influence, possession of a narcotic drug for sale, and also unlawful flight. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. These are felony charges. You do have the right to an attorney in these matters. I'm going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel with you today for purposes of these proceedings. We also have 8 warrants out of Pima County Justice Court that we need to talk about, and a warrant out of Tucson City Court that we need to talk about today. We're going to deal with your felony matter first. I've reviewed some information provided by pretrial services. In addition to all of these things, you have a probation hold from the Pima County Adult Probation Department. So regardless of what I do here today, you're going to be held until you can be seen on that matter, and that is dealt with. Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah, I understand.
I've had the opportunity to review the state's recommendation. They're asking for a $3,500 bond on these cases. Mr. Poston, given his failures to appear, his probation, his history, I'm imposing a $10,000 cash or secured bond. Did you?
No, Your Honor, nothing further.
Ms. Kraus, did you want to be heard? So Mr. Deming, on this felony case, you're going to be held on a $10,000 cash or secured bond. If you post that bond, then you'd be released to pretrial services. You have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to have any alcohol or illegal drugs. Do not drive without a valid license. You can't have any firearms or weapons. You're not allowed to have any contact with a victim or return to the incident location. Do you understand all of those conditions on your felony case? Your next court date is going to be July 21st at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you are expected to show up at all future court dates or they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that as well?
Yeah,
You have to answer louder. You have to answer out loud so she can hear.
yeah, I understand.
Okay. Now we need to talk about your multiple matters out of Pima County Justice Court. You're here for a possession of drug paraphernalia charge from November of 2024. There is a bond amount on that warrant. You're here for a domestic violence assault, domestic violence disorderly conduct from August 31st of 2024. You're here for another DV assault, DV criminal damage, and possession of drug paraphernalia from May of 2022. From June 11th of 2023, a disorderly conduct disturbing the peace. August of 2022, a domestic violence assault, disorderly conduct, possession of drug paraphernalia. September 16th of 2024, a DV assault, a DV disorderly conduct. From July 19th of 2022, a DV criminal damage, DV disorderly conduct. From September 19th of 2024, a DV threats and intimidation charge. You do have the right to remain silent on all of these justice court warrants and charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I am going to impose a $2,000 cash bond on these matters. That is going to be a concurrent bond on all of the cases. I am going to appoint Doug Taylor to represent you. If you do get released on these cases, don't have any contact with any of the victims in the DV cases. Don't return to the incident location. Your next hearing is going to be tomorrow, July 11th at 1 o'clock on all of these matters. If you're still in custody, then the jail is going to make sure that you appear via video, much like you're doing here today, or they'll transport you for that hearing. Do you understand all of the conditions that I've just imposed on all of your misdemeanor cases?
Yes.
I am also going to talk with you about a criminal trespass charge out of Tucson City Court from May of this year. You do have the right to remain silent on that one as well. I am going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you on that case. I'm going to release you on that particular charge, so that's not going to be something else that will hold you. We're going to set a non-transport review hearing date out in September at 9 a.m. and that's going to be at Tucson City Court. If you get released, again, you have to appear at that date and time. If you are still in custody, the jail will make sure that you appear for that hearing. Someone from the City Public Defender's Office should also be out to see you. The idea is that you get all of your other matters that you're in custody for taken care of, and then you'll be dealing with the city court matter. If you don't show up again for the city court case, if you get released, they could issue another warrant for you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're all done for today, Mr. Deming. No. Yeah, I'm going to just hit approve and send all of these your way to fix.
Nikas.
Give me just a minute, sir. All right, tell me your name.
Scott Enriquez.
Mr. Enriquez, you are here today on felony charges involving shoplifting, organized retail paraphernalia. Looks like there's also an intent to facilitate shoplifting charge as well. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in these matters. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. This is your initial appearance. We're here to talk about your conditions of release. I have had the opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report for the court that tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances. It does look like you're being held on a probation violation warrant. out of Pima County Superior Court. There's 2 case numbers from 2024. What that means is regardless of what I do here today, you're going to be held on that matter. Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah.
The state has requested that I hold you on a $5,000 cash or secured bond and release to pretrial services if you get your probation matter resolved. That is the court's inclination today. Did you need to be heard further, Mr. Poston?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Kraus?
No, Your Honor.
So on this felony case, Mr. Enriquez, you are going to be held on a $5,000 cash or secured bond. If you get your probation matter resolved and you do post your bond, you'd be released to pretrial services. You have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You can't possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you're not allowed to have any firearms. Do not return to the incident locations. Don't have any contact with the victims that are there. Your next court date is going to be July 21st at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future court dates, and if you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear for court?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand all the conditions of release that I've imposed here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're all done, sir.
Ines.
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Thomas Martinez.
Mr. Martinez, you are here today on a theft of means of transportation charge. It is a felony offense. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. This is the time for your initial appearance, so we're here to talk about your conditions of release. I've had the opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances of the offense. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation. They're asking for a $7,500 bond on this matter. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Kraus, I am inclined to release him on this case to pretrial services. Did you want to be heard? So, Mr. Martinez, I'm going to release you today on this charge, but you have to stay in contact with pretrial services and your attorney and show up at all future court dates. Will you promise to do that?
Promise.
All right. So when you get released today, you need to make sure you check in with pretrial, let them know where you're staying, and stay in contact with them. Participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You may not have any firearms while this case is going on. Do not have any contact with the victim in this case. Don't go anywhere near the incident location. Your next court date is going to be July 30th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That is going to be your preliminary hearing date. That hearing may or may not occur, but you have to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to show up, they're going to issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you don't show up for court?
Yes.
Do you understand all the conditions of release I've imposed here today?
Yes.
You're going to be out of custody, so it's going to be important for you to stay in contact with your attorney. So if that court date changes, you know when it is, all right? You're all done.
Thank you.
Ines.
Right here? Okay.
Hey, ma'am, tell me your name.
I'm sorry,
Tell me your name.
Adrian Nunez.
Did you go by Pool at some point?
Yes, that's my maiden name.
Okay, all right. You are here today on a couple different matters. We have something out of Tucson City Court, and then there is a parole violation warrant out of the state of Utah. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. The parole violation warrant does indicate that they're asking that you be held without bail. That is going to be my order today. You are going to be held on this Utah warrant. We're going to set a hearing for you on July 15th at 2:30 in the afternoon. You have the right to remain silent on this matter. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I'm going to appoint the legal defender's office here in Pima County to represent you, and someone will be out to talk with you before that hearing on July 15th at 2:30. That will be the time for them to figure out what they're going to do with the Utah warrant. If you want to waive extradition, if you want to have a hearing on it, Those will be the issues that you'll be allowed to discuss for purposes of that hearing. Do you understand all of that, ma'am?
I do and I don't. My husband had gotten a call from the office, from the parole office, and said that they had released me. And so I am not sure like what really is going on. Like,
So someone from the legal defender's office will be out to talk with you, so you will be able to talk with them. Ms. Kraus is the attorney from the public defender's office. She's sitting there next to you. She may be able to provide you with the legal defender's office phone number, but someone from that office, again, should be out to talk with you, and you're going to get a court hearing on the 15th. So in 5 days, you'll be back in Pima County Superior Court, so that you can get more information and they can decide what to do. But today, the court is going to hold you without bond because it's a parole violation. I don't have any choice but to do that today. All right.
that's okay.
We do need
I
to talk.
understand.
We do need to talk about a city court warrant as well. It looks like you have a city court case involving a criminal trespass. You do have the right, you do have the right to remain silent on that case as well. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Are you residing here now, Miss Nunez?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is release you on this charge. So this isn't going to be holding you. Okay. You are going to have to get whatever's going on in Utah resolved. I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office to represent you, and I'm going to set a hearing for you.
How long does Utah have to come to pick me up?
That's going to depend on whether you waive extradition or what happens. You know what? I'm going to change this on the city court case so that maybe you can get this resolved before you go. So I'm going to impose a nominal bond on your city court case since you're going to be in custody, and you'll have the city public defender's office represent you. I'm just going to impose a $100 cash or secured bond on that case.
I can't. I thought you said I was going to be released on this one.
I was going to, but if I do that, your hearing date's going to get kicked out to September. And if you get taken back to Utah, then you're going to end up with another warrant in this case. And we don't know what's going to happen on your Utah case. So if I impose a minimal bond of $100, you'd have to post $10 and be able to come up with the rest in collateral. Then we're going to set we're going to set a video review hearing for you. We're going to set a video review hearing for you at Tucson City Court on July 18th at 1:45. So again, I don't know what's going to happen on your Utah case. Someone from the city public defender should also be out to talk with you.
I have one question. Am I going to be sent out to the prison to wait for Utah, or I'll just be held here?
Yeah, you're going to be held at the Pima County Jail. And again, your hearing will be the 15th in Superior Court. Your video review hearing for City Court will be on July 18th. Unless they dismiss that Utah case, I would expect that you'll be in custody on the 18th, and hopefully you can just get the City Court matter taken care of. If for some reason you do get released on the City Court case and your Utah matter goes away, you do have to show up at Tucson City Court on August 7th at 2. So when you get released, you'll get a copy of the paperwork that'll have all of those dates, and don't go back to wherever that criminal trespass occurred. Do you understand all of that?
Yeah, that was just wrong place, wrong time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You're all done for today, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
That we were going to hear him. They said they were going to put him at the end. He's at the end. Ahumada. Give me just a moment, sir.
Okay.
All right. Tell me your full name and date of birth, sir.
Nicholas Dean Sloan, March 23rd, 1998.
You are here on multiple matters today. You're here on a Superior Court warrant involving burglary, theft, and trafficking in stolen property. Looks like you failed to appear for your initial appearance and arraignment back on February 28th of 2024. There is a bond amount in that case of $2,500. This is the time for your initial appearance when we're going to talk about setting conditions of release on that matter. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report for me that tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. We also have multiple Tucson City Court cases and warrants that we're going to need to talk about when we're done discussing your felony case. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by the state as well. Looks like the prosecutor's office is recommending the $2,500 bond. Given all the failures to appear, that is my inclination. Did you need to be heard further, Mr. Poston?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Kraus, did you want to be heard?
I mean, as to the felony, it looks like it was dismissed and he didn't have notice that it was a direct indictment that was filed. But in light of the misdemeanors, I understand the court's inclination. We would just ask for nothing higher than the $2,500.
I am going to impose a bond on the felony matter of $2,500 that is cash or secured. Mr. Sloan, if you post that bond, then you're going to be released to pretrial services. You're going to have to stay in contact with that agency, participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You can't have any firearms or weapons. You can't have any contact with the victims or return back to the incident location. Do you understand all of those conditions of release? I need you to answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your next hearing in that matter is going to be July 16th at 1:30. That's going to be an arraignment. If you remain in custody, the jail will have you appear via video for that hearing. If you do get released, you are expected to appear at that date and time. If you don't, they can issue another warrant for you. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right. Now, as to your Tucson City Court matters, looks like we have several things to talk about. You have charges ranging from criminal trespass to drug paraphernalia. Multiple counts of drug paraphernalia. Looks like there are new charges involving criminal trespass and drug paraphernalia. You do have the right to remain silent on all of those charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We do need to set conditions of release on your city court cases. Because you have that felony hold, I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office to represent you. Oh, yep. I'm going to appoint Sal Huerta to represent you. He's someone that has represented you in the past on this case. So we're going to appoint him rather than the city public defender's office. I'm going to give you a future court date for all of your Tucson City Court matters. I am going to impose a bond on that case as well. It's going to be a $2,000 cash or secured bond. We're going to set a video review hearing for you on July 18th at 1:45. And if you remain in custody, you'll appear via video like you're doing today. If you get released for some reason before July 18th, your next hearing is going to be August 14th at 9 a.m. at Tucson City Court. Don't return to the incident location wherever that criminal trespass occurred. On the new charges, this is also the time for your arraignment. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed on the Tucson City Court matters, sir?
Yes. Yes.
You fail to appear for your court dates in those for your arrest. They could also go forward with hearings in your absence. So if you don't show up at your hearing, they could set future hearings. They could also set a trial in your absence. And if you don't appear at that trial and you're convicted and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you're going to lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all of those consequences if you don't show up for your court dates?
Yeah.
All done.
Come on. You're done.
Oh, I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
Was.
Hello, Your Honor.
Give me just a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me your name.
To meet Wise.
Mr. Wise, you are here today on felony charges involving theft of means of transportation and burglary in the 3rd degree. These are felony offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in these matters. Today, I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. Also had a chance to review the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release. They're asking for a $15,000 bond on this case. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
15,000.
Mr. Poston?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Kraus?
Your Honor, we're asking for his release in light of the charges, and he has local housing and he has minimal criminal history. The offense that he has listed is from when he was a juvenile.
So, Mr. Wise, if I release you today, you're going to have to show up at future court dates.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to do that?
Yes, ma'am. That is great.
I'm going to release you to pretrial services under the following conditions. You have to stay in contact with that agency. You have to stay in contact with your attorney from the public defender's office. You have to participate in any monitoring or treatment pretrial services directs. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You can't have any firearms while this case is going on. You are also not allowed to have any contact with the victim or return to the incident location. Do you understand all of those conditions of release?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
You'll abide by all of those?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your next hearing is going to be July 30th at 1:30. That is a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, they're going to issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand those consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you're going to be out of custody, it's going to be very important that you stay in contact with your attorney in the event that that future court date changes. You're all done. You're all done for today. There you go. Mhm. All right, and we're left with Mr. Ahumada.
They're bringing him.
Hi, sir. Tell me your name. What's your name?
Juan Omar.
Mr. Ahumada, you are here today on felony charges of domestic violence, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and also being a prohibited possessor. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report for me that tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances of the offense. I've also had an opportunity to review the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release in this case. In reviewing the pretrial services report, it looks like you do have a hold out of the Department of Corrections. So regardless of what I do on this case, you are going to be held for that DOC hold. The state is asking for a $30,000 bond. I am inclined to impose the bond. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Ms. Kraus?
In light of the DOC hold, Your Honor, we defer to the court.
I am going to impose a bond in this matter, sir, of $30,000. That is going to be a cash or secured bond. If you get your DOC matter resolved and you post that bond, then you'd be released to pretrial services in this case. You do have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to commit any further acts of domestic violence, no alcohol or illegal drugs. You can't have any firearms or weapons. You're also not allowed to have any contact with the victims in this case or return to the incident location. That order, no contact with the victims, it applies while you remain in custody. So you're going to be given access to phones or tablets, perhaps to contact people. You are not allowed to have contact with the victims. Do you understand all those conditions of release?
Yes.
Your next court date is going to be July 21st at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant would issue for your arrest. If you're still in custody, the jail will make sure to transport you to that next court date. But if you post bond, you do need to appear. Do you understand the consequences if you don't show up for court?
Yes, I do.
You're all done for today. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Same.